Welcome back to the Top Shelf Literary Editions. This is episode 17. Thank you for joining me. My name is Ernest Weigman III. I'm a Northern Arapaho filmmaker, artist, writer, and media educator. And we're taking a look at the top shelf of my book collection. A myriad of books that I've purchased through the years that I find very interesting. I don't know if my taste is all that great, but I want to share them with you. I'll select a book, give you a short synopsis if I've read it, or a short synopsis of the book, a review if I've read it, and the reason why I purchased the edition. And today's book is Bruce Lee, A Life by Matthew Polly. Now, I've been a big fan of Bruce Lee for a while now, mainly partially as a martial artist, but also as a filmmaker. He's one of the very first to sort of like try to present a first voice in his filmmaking. And this is a very informative, if sort of skewed biography of him. It is unauthorized, so he didn't have permission of the Lee family. But there's a lot of stories about his younger years, about his career back in China, where he made a bunch of films before he even broke big here in the US. I don't know what else I can say. It was informative in that way. It was good to hear about, all of the show business experience he had prior to coming to America, but what it tries to do, and what I think is at fault, is that it tries to attribute all of his accomplishments to other people, rather than a guy that took all these influences and created something new with them. It was about, oh, here's the guy that inspired him to do this, and here's the guy that inspired him to do that, which is fine, but without the melding that Bruce Lee did with the martial arts that he had learned, it's trying to give credit to white guys rather than the intelligence and foresight of Bruce Lee. It gets into a bit of yellow journalism when it tries to smear him as a womanizer, which, based on the stories in here, is mainly hearsay rather than anything rather documented. He paints him as an arrogant, petty, vain person who is sort of like real demanding on the set. And while these are considered shortcomings in Bruce Lee, the comparison he makes in the book is to Steve McQueen, who is a petty, vain bully on the set of his movies. Those are attributes to McQueen, and Bruce Lee, of course, looked up to that and tried to emulate that, which is kind of it's just weird the way he presents that. It tries not to present a lot of the accomplishments that he had as Bruce Lee's own. Even the famous Be Water speech that was filmed on British television in the 70s. He tries to attribute that to the writers of Longstreet, but it's apparent that Matthew Polly didn't watch the audition reel that Bruce Lee did in Hollywood, where he was espousing that nearly a decade prior to being on Longstreet, the concept of water, of being water. So take it or leave it if you want. There's what I found more interesting was his history before he became famous. And again, what it always leaves out is the number of actual martial arts street fights that he got into as a youth, which led him to try to learn Wing Chun under Ip Man. That he did have actual practical street fighting experience for a number of years. So people saying, oh, he was just a movie martial artist. No, he actually did get into street fights a lot as a young teen, as a man in his 20s. So he knew the shortcomings of the martial arts that he was using and he was learning. But of course, it's mainly just trying to attribute things that, that he accomplished to other people, which I find sort of problematic. And of course, they had Matthew Polly in the Criterion DVD box set they had recently, which I don't think was a great addition, but they also put in Game of Death, which I don't think was a great addition to that box set either. So take it or leave it. It talks about the projects he was trying to do before he passed away, including Game of Death. Take it or leave it. I bought it out of curiosity. I read it once. Haven't picked it up since. So, Bruce Lee, A Life. Thanks for joining me. I'll catch you next time.